Welcome back to the first ever Tales of the Story podcast. We're going to be spending our time on the Rings of Power, Season 2, Episode 1. We will be your guides today. My name is Thou.
And I'm SnoopDizzle. And as Sauron announces his new plan for the new age of the orcs, he loses control of the room and the temperature as he begins to talk about his new plan. His new plan, not the old master's plan.
Morgoth is gone, leaving us alone in disgrace. But today, a new age begins. Under me.
Morgor. Morgoth. Now, who is Morgoth?
So, Morgoth.
Morgoth. I'm sorry. Morgoth.
That's okay. Morgoth. Some of them call him Melkor. So you were actually calling them both together.
Okay.
So he's a Valar. So if we're talking about like the power scale, you have Eru, which is like the supreme being, and then you have Maiars, Valars, and then you have your lower than that, which would be like a starry.
Now, on these branches, how would you branch them out? Is it like a good and an evil, or is it, and then branches, or is it just the top guy and then?
So it's the top guy, which is Eru Iluvatar. He's the creator, and the Maiar or the Valar, they are his characteristics, right? So you have ones who want to smith, like the smith, and you have ones who just want peace. Then you have the warrior, and then you have needed but some more darker characteristics like conceited or cockiness or coveting, stuff like that. Like you have that part of his personality as well, or his characteristics, and that's what Melkor is. Melkor is he's the one who wants to be number one, even if he's not supposed to be number one. It doesn't matter. I want it. Like, yeah, I covet it. This is mine. Even if it's not mine. So Melkor had it in his spirits that he wanted to find the only power that Iluvatar had that he didn't have, because he was the number one Valar. He was the most powerful one. He was the strongest of the Valar. Was to create. So that's the only thing that Iluvatar could do that he couldn't do, was create. So he went in this place called the Void, and he was in there for eons. He was looking for the flame of creation, and he never could find it. And when he exited the Void, Iluvatar humbled him, right? To the point that what he wanted to create, Iluvatar said no to, and he gave the smith. He breathed life into the smith's creation, which were the dwarves. So for those who don't know, men were made by Iluvatar, elves were made by Iluvatar, the dwarves were made by the smith, and life was breathed into them by Iluvatar, because nobody can create life besides Iluvatar. Now, Melkor, or Morgoth, depending on what you want to call him, didn't have the power to create, but he did have the power to corrupt. So it was one of his sole goals after being humbled was just to corrupt whatever he possibly could that Iluvatar created. So that's why he's the original bad. That's where the orcs come from. That's where pretty much all of the worst things come from, except for the giant spider. He was actually scared of her. There's some things on the plane that are extremely old and extremely dark that, I mean, Iluvatar could have created, on a bad day. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of nameless things that we don't know about. But that's the whole thing on Morgoth or Melkor. He's where dragons come from. So many orcs. There's so many things that he did that were just huge and great. So that's what you can expect from Morgoth. So
Talks about his new plan or new vision for the orcs. He talks about a power, a new kind of power. A power not of
Not
flesh,
of the flesh,
but a power
but
over
over
flesh.
flesh.
Adar gives him a look with a side eye. Now, Thou, did you happen to see when he began to issue in his plan and then Adar just gave him that little side eye? Because to me, I thought of the code 99 was ordered immediately after that.
what's the code 99?
Kill this motherfucker.
So I saw the look. Now I didn't register it the way that you did. Now playing it back in my mind, I did see that look. It kind of was like a like it was a side eye, exactly how
Because
you
the side eye
described it.
he gave immediately, one of the orcs has a knife behind his back, like pulling this knife, like, okay, that was the code that I just seen. I was given the order just now.
That shows you how plugged in Adar is with the orcs too. If all I
Absolutely.
gotta do is look a certain way, and then somebody's ready to, and everybody knows that Sauron. Oh, another thing I didn't say is if you can go into a fair form, you're extremely strong. That's why Morgoth picks out one of the reasons Morgoth picks Sauron, because he could show himself in a fair form. That's a higher level. It's a leveling scheme inside of a leveling scheme wrapped in a leveling scheme, and that's one of the Sauron is a big deal, or Anatar in his form is a big deal. But the orc that you're talking about was standing behind them, if I'm not mistaken, which in and of itself is a big deal too. That means you're respected. You're like a gold cloak or something like that. You're like, you don't get to stand behind the king, and you're just a low level orc. You just don't get to do that. You know what I mean? So that Adar was able just to give a side eye, and a knife comes out, and this guy is talking about how he's the new boss.
I mean, like you
Man.
said, like that just shows the respect, because he's been around them for that long to be able to give a side out of to get that order, to get that reaction from the orcs like immediately. So
Do you feel like that was a conversation that he should have even been having with the orcs? I feel like he should have just talked to Adar about it. I don't even feel like he should have had the orcs in the room.
Yeah.
Because he said Morgoth is gone. He left us in defeat, so that means a lot of their kinsmen had died.
Yeah.
Right. This is assuming right after a horrific loss that they took, where they were running for their lives and screaming all the types of other stuff.
That's another great point you just made right there.
They lost the conquest.
Should he even had that conversation with anybody but him?
No. You just talk to him. You talk to him about it. You sell him on the idea.
Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't want to take the deal, then you use whatever means you need to make him take the deal, because he is, that. Yes, I don't think that was a winning. I don't think he could have won that anyway.
That was his first mistake.
Yeah, that was a big mistake.
He should have just had the conversation with Adar, and then and go tell your boys that. Now what I just told you.
Go tell them that. Go sell them on that. And they would have been like, well, Adar's been here since day one. He's been in the dirt, the mud, the shadow. He's been, that's our father. So, okay, But
Oh, that was a nice thought you just had there. That was he lost the room, but not only that. Before that, all you had to do is go say, "Yo, blah blah blah." Now go tell your boys this is how we move it. We stepping like this now.
We stepping like this.
Easy peasy.
Yep.
So as he talks about this new kind of power over flesh, not of flesh but over flesh, Adar gives him the side eye. Then he orders the code 99.
Code 99.
they are not all on board with this new talk that more of you will die.
Mm.
So didn't they just lose the big war, and now he's telling them more of you will die for my new vision?
Now, Snoop, I know you a boss. I'm still an employee right now. I'm working towards bosshood though. But imagine, right? Imagine if you're going through layoffs, right? Which I know a lot of people in the country have been through layoffs, right? Imagine you're going through layoffs, and then you're excited because you're not excited because but you're like, all right, we made it. Like I'm still gonna be good. And then they come down under new management, right? Dressed to the nines because
Right.
Avatar had that on. It says, well, more of y'all are getting laid off. We're doing things differently. It's not you have no familiarity. You don't know what you're about to be doing. I don't know what he's talking about, right? Then he's saying more people are about to get fired. Now go do your job the best way that you can. What?
Right. Right.
No. What are we talking about?
Right.
Mm-mm.
This guy.
No thanks. No thanks.
So as he pronounces these words about the flesh, these are words that Adar has never heard before.
Mm-mm.
Like he's never heard anything like this before. As Sauron continues his speech about more of you will die, one of the orcs grabs his knife behind his back, clenches it, because he's been given the code 99.
Of the chaos, we will forge a new and perfect order. No longer will we be hunted as the demons who broke.
Goes towards Sauron. Sauron slips the knife, grabs it, and cuts his throat immediately.
It was like 2 motions.
Yeah.
He
side stab, grab.
Yeah. The knife goes forward. I think he might have grabbed the wrist, slipped the knife from him, and then just it was phenomenal. Like as dolled up as Anatar was, like he definitely had the elven warrior mindset. Like he really, it was so quick and so proficient the way he, and then so brutal too, very violent.
Yes, because he continues to stab the orc on top of the head 2 more times.
What do you think the meaning of that was? Why do that?
To show you, everybody saw what happened. The dude tried to take him from behind. So I've got eyes in the back of my head. I see all. So don't try me. Not one of you try me. And I'll
doubt
kill you.
Me at your peril.
That's what he said. So as he kills the orc, he embraces him. And what would you say he said? Like a scream? Like what you said, I doubt me at your peril, but he screams it like, and you could see a quarter of his face just like change. You could see something in him. Like
he
could see
he has this
power.
way. You could, but you could. And one thing I noticed is he has this way of he's going to try to sell you on what he wants you to do, right? He's going to try to like, this would be a good idea. I'm so happy that you thought of it. This is a great thing that you should do, right? I believe that you should do this. And then when you're like, no, I don't think I'm going to do that. Well, you have to, right? Or something horrible is going to happen, or I'm going to do something horrible to you, or it's he tries to sell you on it, and then he tries to bully you into it. And you can see that in the start of his speech.
Because he was calm, giving the speech, and then the orc tried to take him or betray him, and then he got very loud. Yeah,
before then, he had a very quiet, calm violence to him, right? As soon as he said Sauron lies in black speech,
Yeah.
What he said, doubt me at your peril. And then he starts talking about how everybody hates you but me. And then they tried then what you said, they tried to take him out, and then he's it's up from there. It's just like it's then it calms back down when Adar is, you know, about to, I guess, give the code 99. It kind of calms down a little bit, and then we go on from there. Like,
so as Sauron begins to explain to the orcs that the elves will never accept them, men will only look upon you but nothing but horror and disgust, and your only worthiness will be just to be hunted. That's what he tells them. Like, and then the roar from them is like, it just pisses them off. Like, they don't even listen to anything he's saying anymore. The only thing they're thinking is about that code 99. So they're not even listening as he's, you know, telling them probably the truth. What do you think?
Yes and no. They don't need to be accepted by the elves, right? If the men come to hunt them, they can get what they need to get. Morgoth had built them kingdoms, right? It was at least 2 huge kingdoms, and they were standing in one at that point there.
True.
Right? So how dare you, right? I know you're like one of the supreme beings on earth at this point. Like, you're a huge deal, but still, how dare you? My creator of drag, like, he did things my creator that I, as speaking from the perspective of an orc, that I could feel tugging at my very essence. I did things that he wanted me to do due to the fact that it felt like it came from inside me. You know what I mean? Like, that's the power that Morgoth had. And you're just coming and you're just speaking to me about you wanting to create the power that he had. Like, you're not, and then you tell me that all I am is nothing for the most part, and I'm standing in a kingdom right now. Like, how dare you?
With my kinfolks and my brothers, like,
what? Oh, that's a good way to get jumped, buddy. That's a good way to get jumped.
Say that's a good way to get jumped.
And you got it. The emotional space that these orcs had to be in was just horrible. They lost their creator, so many of their family members. The look on Adar's face alone when Sauron says, "Who among you dare say otherwise?" He gave him a look then too. Who among you dare say otherwise?
He did.
Speak now, forever hold your peace.
He did.
Man.
So, as the orcs pass Adar the crown, that, I don't know, the way Adar, now I think about the way he accepted it, was so slow. It's like, what was he choosing? Like, was that
making the choice then?
Yeah, like, was he he's still choosing because the little speech that he gave before, you know, or taking the crown, you know, like,
because he did say, "Hail Sauron."
I mean, so I don't know. So as the orcs pass Adar the crown, Sauron gets down on one knee. He looks up at Adar, then bows his head, waiting for the crown to be placed. As Adar lowers the crown, he flips it over and stabs Sauron in the back. Sauron falls to the floor on his back, and the orcs begin to attack him.
One thing, he actually, okay, so I feel like you got me thinking deeply. So I feel like he wanted to do this, but it was fear there. Because understand, Adar is He was third. He was third. There were other beings there that Morgoth had, but when it comes to the specific power structure to what we're talking about in context here, it was Morgoth or Melkor, depending on how you want to call it. It was Sauron, and then it was Adar. That's how it went.
Either
So,
way, he was promised power. He knows
he was
that.
promised power. Yeah. So he was promised power, and he was scared of Sauron as well. So that if you remember, when after he stabbed him and he pulls it out, he backs up.
Yeah, he backs completely up.
And the orcs go in. And Sauron gets about 2 or 3 orcs. He gets
more than that.
He got more. Okay.
Dude, he threw one up against the wall. He cut one of them up. Like he got at least 5 of them. Easy.
5. Wow. Okay. So he got 5 orcs.
I think he got about 5.
And then he got stabbed as many times as a person can get stabbed. They cut him like a pizza, man. They cut him.
He got hit so many times though, it wasn't nothing he could do. Like the amount of times he got hit consecutively, it was just crazy.
Have you ever seen that scene from Ip Man when he like beats the guy down? It's like that, but with like orc shanks.
And did you notice the
so
blood?
bad.
None of it was red. It was just completely black. All of his blood.
All of his blood was black? Really?
Man. Nothing red in that scene. It could have been.
So wait. Okay. All right. So you're saying all of his blood was black. So if him in his elven state as an Anatar, he has black blood, but as Hellbrand, doesn't he have red blood? Because the scene. Wow, man, you got me thinking now. Because the scene of him getting beaten on, I'm pretty sure his blood is red on his back.
Pretty sure.
Somebody has to tell us something about that.
You might have to go back and check out season 1 and check out some of those, because now you got me thinking.
Okay.
So as they stabbed him, and Adar walks up to him slowly and gently. He gives him a small kick just to make sure he's dead. And then Sauron releases this energy or cold energy or what?
That was an AOE frost bomb or with Cairo grenade, or like, I don't know, like that was a whole lot, man. That was a huge explosion. Like when I can only imagine how much force output that would have to be. You know, we'd have to get the guys from Screw Attack to do the math on that, because they zoomed back and showed the mountain, and then it actually the difference in temperature changed the actual weather. Like that was a cold bomb, man.
Imagine being how close to him releasing that as they were, and then, like you said, the reaction. So, in that scene where he was getting stabbed multiple times, how many times do you think he actually got stabbed?
So, quick math, right? About 20 orcs on him, that we could see. Are you talking about after he's down on the ground getting stabbed? You talking about the whole
in total?
Oh
yeah.
Man. Oh man. 300.
Mm.
Feel like I'm on Prices Right. 300.
I would be right behind you. I would say something like 200
200.
because they was just going at it like butcher style. Not even like it was slaughter style. It was crazy.
Yeah. Cut, drag, stab,
Yeah,
stab,
just-
cut, drag.
And then like you were saying at the end, like even at the end, dudes getting their last little pokes in. Like
That was funny. I felt
was
like that
funny-
was such. I'm here too. I'm here too.
yeah,
Like,
don't shoot that pistol no more. Yeah. But did you notice the way a dog walks up to him and gives him the little kick, like to make sure that he's dead? Like
that was the most like I feel like kid to dad thing ever, to be honest. Like just you awake? You know what I'm saying? Like
that was
up?
crazy.
You up?
Like he was still scared of him. Like even seeing all of that, he was still scared. Like
yeah, he definitely had fear in his heart for Sauron, which I mean, rightfully so. Sauron is something to be scared of.
Absolutely.
He is the
Absolutely. It should be.
boogeyman. Yeah, he's
Absolutely.
the boogeyman.
it should be, and he knew that doing that. Like
He is the boogeyman.
so, as he is stabbed us multiple times, Adar gives him the little kick and then releases this energy that goes crazy, like knocks everybody out and just freezes the kingdom.
It just
All of
whoosh. It was like a shockwave of just ice and frost and just the temperature drop changed the entire weather.
the whole landscape was frozen or had snow or
that was incredible. That was incredible. You definitely know that he can't do that all the time, but I guess in super dire restraints, that was the last of the energy that he had. So that's the way it came out. It just as in a huge just wafting of ice, and that was impressive. That was extremely impressive.
And with that, like when Adar looks back at his body, his clothes is just there. There's nothing left of him. There's just nothing there. Like all of that they stabbed up was gone. His whole body was gone. And you just see this black ooze just seeping through the cracks and continually down into the earth, down until it falls into a pool of water, to where a rat reached down to it or got close enough to it to where it consumed the rat to gain strength and energy. What would you say? And
That made me extremely uneasy. I think it might go back to his speech about unlimited conquest, right? He was stripped down to his base form in a place where he felt safe or whatever. He's stripped down to his base form. The rat comes down there, and it was just so violent. It reaches out and it just snatches the rat up, and then it crushes him and drags it in, and then you just see it eating the most vile thing, like the grossest things, right? And it just starts to crawl and climb its way out of the depths in which it's sunk into, right? And you see it come out, and it like kind of flops down on the snow. And
to see that light at the end of the tunnel, it seemed at the distance, and it just kept moving towards the light to come out. Yeah, it was just it was crazy. Because like you said, it was just falling down until it began to eat stuff and then move back up. And as it moved back up, it got to that point where it seen that light, and then when it seen that light, it just moved towards the light to eventually, like you said, come out and fall into the snow itself. And again with that, like how long do you think that time process was? Like, I mean, on a time scale, like because he came out, it was still snow. He created that from his other form.
So that was the
But well, I don't know.
it was the second age when he was Anatar and he was giving the speech. That was the second age, and then for him to freeze everything, it had to have been a very long time. And the reason I say that, right, the orc survived, but imagine a rat surviving that freeze blast, and centipedes and stuff like that surviving that freeze blast. I don't think they would have made it.
Nah, because look how far down he had to go to get that rat. Like, so I just wonder how
long
the time was, because
a long time.
Yeah.
I don't know how long. I don't know how to judge it.
I mean,
he
Adar does give an inkling of how long it was, of how long that time was, but I don't know.
I mean, it was a very long time, because you got to think. I'm messing up his name, but the human captain, right? He wasn't around when Anatar gave the speech. Even the main orc that we see later in the episode has a child who's extremely trusted by Adar. He wasn't around during that speech. Like, there's a lot of new faces when and then you got to think about how long the things that we saw in season 1. It was a lot was going on, and a lot happened in that time frame. So I still don't know how many years it was, but I would say it was some years before. I don't think it was a respawn quickly, because due to the fact that Adar was able to do so much and build up so much for the orcs, and then for them to still be scared of Sauron, but almost put Sauron out of their mind. I feel like it was at least a little ways away, maybe like a generation or two.
It was definitely some time.
Maybe like 1 or 2 generations. Definitely at least one generation, but maybe two or three, or maybe even more.
So as his body of goo begins to come out of the darkness and fall into the snow, a wagon with a lady heading seemingly from the south towards the north rolls over this body of goo. The body of goo then rolls up into the back of the wagon and begins to shake violently. You hear the woman scream. Did you hear her scream?
Yeah, I did. I did hear her scream. I wanted to add a couple things too. So it only showed him eating, even though it was cute. I think it was supposed to be seen as vile things, right? The mouse is vile. The centipede is gross. I mean, a lot of people are, but the centipedes are. I'm not a fan. Centipede or millipede. Then if you see the lady, she is a southerner, right? She's drinking, and she has a wagon, right? There's not much going on in the wagon, so I'm not sure if they're trying to say that she wasn't the best person, right? Because she's drinking, she's by herself, she could have stole the wagon. Like, there's a lot of just ambiguity, but I painted in my mind, kind of sounds crazy coming out my mouth, but I painted in my mind that he just was eating or consuming like kind of bad stuff, okay. And then I kind of painted her in the picture of maybe she stole the wagon, or maybe she, you know what I'm saying? Because why is she by herself on this wagon, going north? Like, what? Like, it was convenient, and it was weird. You know what I mean? Like, what was the point? And then you I don't know. That's how I pictured. I was like, oh, he only ate bad stuff when he was coming up. So
Yeah, I can see that. And then see what he consumed her and it became the new form
Hellbrand.
of
Mm-hmm.
this Sauron or Hellbrand. Yeah, he became
Yeah.
actually Hellbrand. Yeah.
Hellbrand. Yeah.
So after becoming Hellbrand, he took that deep breath after becoming into that human form again, and
Back at it, baby.
and standing in the snow barefooted, he just
Mm.
began his journey back south.
Yep. Back south. You think? What do you think? Any reason he was going? He was heading south. He just knows how it works down there, or what do you think his reasoning for going south was? Because I feel like he could have went with the elves. He knows how it works over there too, as being Anatar, his fair form. But he decided to go straight south first. Why do you think that was?
Just to immediately go to get his revenge because he knew where Adar was. Just because he just didn't care, and he knew he was powerful and he could do it if he wanted to. So
Mm.
he just needed to get to him to figure out how he was going to do it.
Oh, he was gonna disgrace him and then just take over right then and there.
Why not?
Yeah, makes sense. That okay.
But as he's traveling back south, he meets a band of wandering people that were coming from the south that told him that there was a war of orcs fighting men, and told him don't go that way. And as him and the older gentleman began to have the conversation, he noticed the emblem. What would you say that was? An emblem or a pendant or?
It was a it seemed like a small sash that had something in it,
Mhm.
and then had the I don't know, just the symbol, right? Like it just was almost, I guess, was it just applied to the sash? I'm not sure how they put it on. To be honest with you, it kind of was. I've never seen anything like that before. It wasn't a traditional necklace at all, but it
No.
was a bag, a small bag that had something in it, almost akin to like a coin purse but smaller, and it had the symbol of something on the fabric of the sack of the sack. I don't know. It was a. I don't know. I don't know what I would call that. It definitely was important, whatever it was, but I wouldn't. I don't know what it would be called.
Well, he said it was from before the king, older than kings or before the kings, or something like that. He said it was with of some kings or something about some kings.
The old kings.
Like whatever it was though, or something that could be it had the story that Sauron needed. And as the older man began to tell him what the pendant meant, and tell him to not continue to move south because that's what Sauron wanted to do. He wanted to go and continue his fight because that's all he knows. The old gentleman began to tell him that was something different. There's another path. There's a boat down here that we can get on and go a different way and choose a different actual talk. That actual talk that he had with the guy meant something, or the pendant is what meant something that he needed.
He might have sold me on it too, but I just breaking it down character wise. I think that the talk actually got through to him, not about being good or anything like that, but just the other way, right? Because what he was gonna go do, what we kind of settled on, is he was gonna go humiliate Adar. He was gonna go maybe kill him, but probably not. Probably just humiliate him into the point where the orcs didn't respect him anymore, even as a father. And then Sauron was the guy, that's power. That's power of the flesh, right? But then this old man comes and gets in his ear of what he wanted to do anyway, because you have to understand understand how he received it. He was like, "Well, there's another way." Blah 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 blah. he was gonna go do what he was gonna do, but now he's like, oh, right, I can do the other way, which is power over flesh, which is the long game, which will get me closer and more than just taking over some orcs, right? I can take over kingdoms and everything else. So that I feel like he was on path to go get Adar. Then, you know, speaking to the old man, seeing the story, weaving the plan in his mind, he was like, yo, I can do what I wanted to do. They're not on board really anyway, so I need to use them the way that I can use them. And this is a stepping stone to be able to do that.
This way, right? Because there's a different way. That's okay. I can see. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So as they begin to board this boat, they're on board. It's nighttime. The boat's just creaking in the water, slowly creaking in the water, just sailing to its destination. There's kids on there. You can hear them, women and children. And the older gentleman begins to talk to
that scene kind of freaked me out a little bit because you just see Sauron there. You see Sauron there asleep, right? He's asleep, and he's not having a good dream at all. But the old man says you're having that dream again, which means that who knows how long they were on the boat? Because you got to think, oh man, they spent so much time together, right? I don't feel like they spent so much time together. They went from the walk to the boat, right? And now they're on the boat, and I didn't see land anywhere. So they had spent some time together. All you having the bad dream again, because the old man is just staring at him.
True.
You know, like, so they had bonded and everything already. Well, you know, in one direction. So they have more of a mentor type mentee talk. And yeah, I'm sorry to cut you off, Snoop. I just thought it was weird how when you know Sauron's asleep, and then you just see the old man just like like it was like Sauron was his project, you know, or excuse me, Hellbrand was his project. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna make that a good guy. He wants to be good. I'm gonna help him be good. Boy, I tell you, you know. Like,
yeah, he legit wanted to help him. Like,
he did.
You could see it. He wanted to help him.
He wanted
told him
to
choose to be good the next day and the next day and the next day
until it becomes your nature.
Till it becomes your nature. Yeah,
which is sound advice. Yep, that's how you. Yep.
So
train them up in the way to depart.
It's just crazy how, like, you're legit trying to help somebody and be good, but other people got other thoughts and plans for you, and they taking advantage of all of that goodness that you're trying to give. Like, it's crazy. So as Sauron devising his plan against the old man, you see or hear some crinkling in the boat or crumples in the water, and there's a monster that looms under the boat that comes from the abyss. Like, I don't know what kind of I don't know what kind of sea creature that you would even name that or call that. Like,
it was like a whale mixed with one of those like older dinosaur type fish and a megalodon. Like, it was like amalgamate. It was a lot of things that was just one thing, and it had different pieces of boats attached to its body. Like, it was that thing was gross. Do you feel like Sauron called the monster to him?
I kind of do. I kind of feel like he did, because as he tells everybody to hold on in the boat, or says grab onto something, and the monster hits the boat like within the next second, this log falls down and hits the old man across the chest, screaming "Help me!" And Sauron, or Helbrag, turns over and looks at him and just snatches the necklace and turns around and then stood still as the boat then takes another hit from the
Disintegrates.
monster and explodes pretty much.
Yeah.
And everybody's screaming, and he literally is just so calm in the water and turns around, and the beast like lines him up like it's going to eat him, and then
He hurts it.
you think that's what happened. He just looks at it, and it's
He
because
has
the scream underwater, like it was like hurt from looking at him.
Yeah, and it did the, like kind of like get myself together, like kind of wiggle type thing, like kind of shook it all. Like, yeah, he definitely hurts it underneath the water. So what that lets me know is he could have saved everybody on that boat if he wanted to.
Yeah.
He could have like I don't know if he called the monster to him, but I do know that he has a higher level of perception, right? So he perceived that the monster was on the way, for sure. But I don't know if he called the monster to him.
Well, if he didn't call the monster to it, he definitely got the monster away from him for sure.
Yes,
From that look that
sure
he gave
did.
to it,
For sure.
because he wasn't scared the least little bit.
None
Because he
whatsoever.
swam so calmly in that water when he looked at that beast, and the beast swam away, and then he went up so calmly, like
That's what I thought.
he wasn't. Yeah, mess with me if you want to.
Right.
I'm already in a bad mood. So when he swims up to the water and grabs a plank or a piece of the boat that was left there and climbs aboard, and the next thing you see is Gladriella swimming in the water, and he says the path is starting to look dark, like with that smirk and smile. Like,
That made no sense to me. Is your tide coming in or going out? What do you like? What I that when I, if that is profound, when I say that went over my head, it completely flew over my head. I to this day don't understand what he meant by is your tide coming in or going out. What the path is getting dark. Is your tide coming in or going out? I don't know. I don't. Did you get that? What he was trying to say?
not
there?
exactly. I mean, the first time, definitely season 1 when he said that, absolutely. I didn't. I had no idea what he was talking about. I just thought he was just some sad dude that something sad happened to him. You know what I mean?
Worst pickup line ever, man.
He had me fooled from beginning. So I don't know what. I don't know.
I didn't get that. She thought she was gonna get help. Like it felt like she thought she was about to pull up on the boat, and then that wasn't the case. You know, so
That was nowhere near the case.
No, you're gonna have to hear this weird saying that I'm about to say. There you go.
So we're moving on, and you can see Gladriella and Eldron riding horses, like racing. It almost looks like if you were watching them, they were Elrod's in front and Gladriella's in the back, chasing him or trying to get next to him or trying to get close to him, with the horses just galloping as fast as they can go.
They were definitely speeding. I like to point out the fact that as a commander, on your horse, you could tell that she was completely out of her game. The fact that the commander was outmaneuvered by a politician, it just shows you how shook she was about this whole situation, how thirsty, how eager she was to whatever Elrond had on him. Now we know what he had on him, but how eager she was to get it. She wasn't even using any of her real skills. It just was she had no finesse at all. It was all just forward. Like, I need that. Like, it just going forward. It just, she was like, I just think that was kind of wild.
Yeah, because
Get outmaneuvered on horseback.
Because they're racing to the High King first, or see who can get there first to tell him about the rings, to tell the story of the rings. And as she's reaching for the rings to try to snatch them off Elrond's waist, he hits her with a juke behind a bush or between the bushes. That's, like you're saying, she's not even really paying attention. She didn't even see it coming because she's reaching for the rings because of her want for the rings.
Yeah.
And he loses her in the bushes, and
that was amazing. That was such a good move by him. That was, and this is just, I stand with Elrond so stoutly. Like Elrond is a great character for Middle Earth. Like he is absolutely phenomenal. He's amazing.
He stands for Middle Earth.
He does. He
He's that
does.
guy.
And I mean, he stands for his people. And I guess he doesn't really stand for Middle Earth because he's cool with abandoning them if it's the natural order for him to do so. You know what I mean? Like, if we're supposed to leave, then we should leave. It's his take on it. But
Well, he's with the way of the order.
yeah,
So
natural order. Like, I'm with right. But she got finesse so hard, and then if I'm not mistaken, I think she starts to look around for him, and she meets what happened. She is under guard or something like that, if I'm not mistaken.
where I think 4 gold cloaks come right out.
Okay.
Waiting for her, telling her, no disrespect, but the High King is waiting for you. Like, you know, Elrond's already got there. The guards have already been sent to come and get you.
She's
We
still
waiting
looking
for you
for
over
him.
here. Yeah, she's still looking for him under the bush.
Still looking for him, and she's taken under guard because the gold cloak touched her horse. Like he once took her in custody, not to the level of but walking up on somebody and touching the reins of their horse. That means you're not going anywhere. Not without it escalating to something else. You know what I mean? So you're gonna have to push me down or kick me, or you're either coming with me or we're gonna have to get physical in some type of way.
But other than that, come this way.
Yeah, come this way. So yeah,
as they take her to the High King, she immediately tries to get her conversation in, talking about the rings, but he shuts it down, talking about, is this true from what Elrond is telling me of your friend Hellbrand? Is who he say he is? And she wants to immediately, again, not even answer the High King's question, talk about the rings. But the rings, he says, no, answer my question. And she breaks down and she says, yeah, I was deceived. I was fooled.
And Elrond doesn't even know who Hellbrand is. When she says, when she says that Hellbrand is Sauron, he literally hits her with the "How dare you?" or "How could you?" Like he had no idea. He just knew
he wasn't who he said he was from what he looked at from the records.
Right, from the records, and he knew that the rings weren't a good idea. And then for him to be like, the rings are a horrible idea, and then to realize who assisted in their creation, there's no way. There's no way he's signing off on that. Absolutely no way whatsoever or at all. He already didn't like him, and then you sprinkle that fact in on it too.
Right.
No. And he was trying his best to be a part of the solution as to where they don't even need the rings. If you go back to season 1, which I promise y'all we're gonna do, but he was trying to to the point where he worked extremely hard to get the mithril for the elves, so they wouldn't need the rings or anything like that. You remember how hard he went to go to the dwarves and he did his absolute best. He failed.
Yeah, he actually spent the time and trying to delegate, or not even delegate, but politic with them guys over there to try and see if they couldn't get something together, like the safe stuff. You know what I mean? But
he's about to give them all the food. He just did everything he could do.
He did give it a try. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I don't know how friends him and I forget the dwarf's name. Oh man, I know his name. Because he's one of the brothers, man. I can't even think of it, man. But he definitely did some politicking with my man to try to get everything that they needed, that can't even think of his name. But anyway. So as she's telling them that it is Sauron, Hellbrand is Sauron, the High King lets out a scream, like he was so upset. Like, how could you? Like, how could you do this to our people? Like,
he said, "How could you?" And I just thought that was wild.
Her and then she tried to claim that she was deceived. Elrond is like, were you, or were you already like consumed by the darkness? You know what I mean? Like, because of the rings. So
that was such a good hit. He said the light shined on your face and you turned from it and jumped in the water with there's no nothing that you knew of a way out. You know, like absolutely no way out. You just hopped in and was like, all right, I don't want that. I want this. So
one of the highest honors that can be bestowed upon you, she turned her back on it. Like,
yep.
So
the undying land. The goal.
So
Prince
as
Durian is the name that you wanted.
Dorian.
Yeah.
Dorian. Because his brothers were the one that had the orc log that he fought the dude with. That was one of his brothers. I think he was a Dorian too. So as that she continues to explain a story about Sauron, the High King demands the rings from Elrond, and he says no because they're corrupted. Like these rings must be destroyed because Sauron has corrupted them. And then Galadriel assures the High King that he didn't touch him. She assures him that he didn't touch him, and Elrond says he worked with him for weeks with those rings.
He did.
And she promised the High King that those rings weren't touched. And he said, nevertheless, whether he touched them or not, or pretty much was saying whether he touched them or not, Galadriel, you put us in a position where we have to trust we have to trust. We have to trust the rings now.
We gotta try them. That's all we got.
That's
left.
all we got. We have to try the rings. We're already doomed now.
We can't submit Middle Earth to be under another Dark Lord, even though we were about to leave. We can't do it. So they took responsibility for all of Middle Earth. Being one of the first races, the first race to wake up. They took responsibility for all Middle Earth, and they feel like Louis Vuitton gave them that responsibility. Being as powerful as they are, and feel like they have to protect it. It's their duty. So that's why that's why he took the stance that he took, in my opinion. Galad, he took that like I gotta protect because this is my job, and such a horrible way to go around it, man. Go about it.
Because that was the High King's problem at the time, because he was telling them that soon that I've got to explain to everybody that we've got to leave because the last golden leaf will fall.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems to be soon because look, the tree is dying.
Yeah.
Like as they were having this conversation, the golden leaves were falling all around him.
Yeah, like just dropping.
So, and that was another thing that was stressing the king out. Like he was like having to tell everybody that it's time for them to leave Middle Earth. Like their time there was done. And I wonder if that was also part of Sauron's plan. He knew it was time for them to leave. Was he trying to make a move for him there then, or to get the rings to get them to think that that was something that could save them, to keep them to stay past their time when they knew they were supposed to go? That's crazy.
Yeah. It was a double win, right? They either don't use the rings and they leave, I win anyway, or they do use the rings and then they're corrupted as well, and I still win.
Because once they leave those shores, they're done. They leave forever.
They leave. Yeah, they leave forever, and unless like a Valar would have to A Valar would have to step in and allow them to come back. You know, it's like leaving the dimension. You know, the realm. It's like you're. That's it. You go to the land of the undying. You stay there unless you were brought back on. You know, by a way. So
this was like their last chance to do anything with Middle Earth, saving it anyway as much as possible they can. It was just those 3 rings. That was their last hope for saving it. So as the High King demanded the rings from Elrond, he says no. The king demands the rings again. He says, I won't ask again. And your favorite guy, Elrond, the politician, the people, the man for the people, the people's people.
Real, for real. Like, really.
Like takes the rings and jumps off the waterfall.
That is huge, man.
Like that waterfall was endless. Did you see that? Like
it was so far down.
Endless. Like
yeah. And just to give you like give the listeners some kind of like back a little bit. So elves can't get sick. They can't die of old age. What elves die of are like heartbreak or physical death. So he can die by like, you know, being killed. So that jump that he took could have killed him. It could have actually killed him. And he was willing to do it to save his people. I keep saying Middle Earth, but he's not trying to save Middle Earth. That's not what he's here for. He's not here. He's here to save his people. And he doesn't want his people to be corrupted by Sauron's plan. Now, did he try to save Middle Earth? Yes. But that's not what he's trying to do at this point. At this point, he's trying to stop Sauron from corrupting his people. And he would love to save Middle Earth, but that's not objective A at this point. Objective A is to
that's not the main. That's a little side quest over there, you know.
Exactly. So Elrond jumping off the mountain is so very epic.
Very.
I wish he had a better ally. I really do. I wish he had a better ally. I wish he had somebody. Elrond had nobody he could run to. Nobody was on his side. He was all by himself the whole time, and that sucks, man. He couldn't turn to his best friend, which is Galadriel. He couldn't turn to the king who sided with Galadriel. He couldn't turn to the shipmaker. His name.
Sindan.
Círdan. Right? Círdan. He couldn't turn to Círdan. He ended up siding with Galadriel. Now, did he drop some gems on Elrond? Of course he did, because he's an old man. Old man be dropping gems. This is how that works. Old people, not old, just old people drop gems. He made a lot of sense in the things that he was saying, but at the same time, he had nowhere he could really go. Like, he just was by himself. And that was I feel like that was really tough for him. But he had his beliefs, or he has his beliefs, and he jumped on those instead of standing on them. He jumped on those and jumped all the way down the waterfall.
Right. Like you said, like their ability, like their immune system, how they don't get sick, like the things that their body can withstand, like, and for him to take that, not knowing I could die, and they can get the rings anyway, but you know what? They ain't gonna have them right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just crazy how he did that. Like, people's people. I like that, because I definitely, not knowing whether the rings are corrupted, but knowing Sauron was in the building, in the room. That's all he needs to know.
That's respecting your opponent's intellect. That's what that is. He respects the fact that if Sauron's around something, it's probably filthy.
It's probably filthy.
It's probably filthy. He respects the fact that if Sauron's around and something new pops up that has never been a thing before, it's probably manipulated by him and he brought it into being. Right? So it's safe to say that these rings that are supposed to do these awesome things were affected by Sauron.
Absolutely. You can absolutely say that, right?
And everybody else thinks that the High King is smart enough to understand that. I'm not saying they're not affected by Sauron. What I am saying is that this will give me more time. The High King is playing for time, right? Gladriel is playing for time. That's why she jumped off the boat. She wanted more time, right?
Okay. Okay.
Even Círdan is playing for time. Círdan is playing for time. Everybody's playing for time except for Elrond. Elrond is like, if we give him more time, then he can win. That's when he says, this is when he says, he doesn't have any armies. He doesn't have any weapons that can work against us right now. Like, he doesn't have anything to conquer Middle Earth with. When the king says what he says about, we can't leave him to be the Dark Lord. He's like, well, he didn't have anything. And if we leave and we don't use these rings, he might never have anything.
Right.
Because if the elves leave, you know who else is leaving? Celebrimbor. Nobody's there to make him.
True.
He's done.
True. All of them leave forever.
Yes.
Yes. Yo, that's one of the things. You gotta have vision, man. You know what I mean? You not only do you have to have the thought, but you gotta have vision on how that shit's gonna play out or work out. You know what I mean? You gotta take the steps that you think that it needs. He had a vision so far ahead, dude. It was crazy. Oh wow.
Yes. He was playing like that guy. Sauron is a dog. Like he was like, I gotta keep him here. Like I gotta keep him here. And if I don't keep nobody else here, I gotta keep Celebrimbor.
And that's how he was keeping his players on the chessboard. He was moving these guys over here to move over here.
I need more time. I need more time. I need more time.
Knowing that they needed more time to create these things, to give them these things, to use, thinking that they want. Boy, this guy's. Oh boy, they're literally all on the board, and he's moving them around.
Yep. And all the hell elves had to do, literally, to stop all this from happening, is leave. Because the dwarves and the men could fight. Right? They've been doing it for years. They could fight. They could fight their fight. So the king and the elves are trying to do something unnatural, and that's what you get when you start. That's what happens. You're going against the grain.
Yeah, that's what happens.
That's what happens.
Now we move on to Mordor. As you can see, the volcano somewhat erupting and a little lava coming out as what do you say? It's turning nighttime, or
couldn't even tell, because when that volcano starts popping, all that smoke gets up in there. It always looks like that.
True.
That could have been 8 a.m, like we don't even know.
Or midnight,
right? Or midnight, because you got the light from the light. You don't even, man. I tell you what, it wasn't ice like it was before. Like it was so it was the opposite. It wasn't ice like it was before. So, I think the next thing that we see is what do we see next? Was it chains or was it something else?
Yes, chains. We see Sauron chained to the group of Southlanders.
Okay.
Chained all together, walking towards Mordor, pretty much. The Southlanders are all put in front of Adar and told to bow, and if they don't bow, they die. And just to give them an example, the first guy goes up and he doesn't bow, and they put a knife. The guy hits him with the knife, and it goes completely through and comes out of his back, like. Ooh. And then he just pulls it out immediately.
Mm.
And then
That's
you see the
over.
next person come up and they
He ain't even
immediately
say nothing.
bow.
He ain't even say nothing. He just
And once you bow and give your allegiance to Adar, they take you over to a guy with a hot poker
come on.
and brand you with Adar's mark on your neck.
That's awful. You would think
Man.
you'd be alright after you bow. Like, all right, cool.
Man.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
They said, yeah, no, stay right there for me. That's a lose-lose. That is
Boy, I bet you that's painful. Right on your neck meat too, right there. Like,
on your neck meat is crazy.
whew.
Now, why do you think stop? Huh?
That's not a nice easy burn to take right there, bro. That's
Oh, that's like that hot cone back in the day.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's the
Hot back there, boy.
Ooh, you get pinched too
Immediately
hard.
yeah. They hold your head down like they get that thing on you. But yeah, that's the mark of Sauron after that. And then
Adar.
I mean, yeah, Adar, my bad. The
Yeah.
mark of Adar, and then you're branded.
Why you think Sauron or Hellbrand got captured? What do you think the point of was that? Like, why do you think he did that? What does he gain from getting captured?
So listen, as far as we know what we know about this guy, about moving pieces already around on the board, this is another piece on the board that he needs to move around. So he turns himself in as what would you call that, guys? General, high guard, commander,
lieutenant, something like that. Yeah.
His commander says he was turned himself in. So for him to do that, he knew he was going to go and see Adar face to face. So he wanted to go and try and approach him or give him this plan that he had. Or
I like how chill Adar was too. He was chill. And then Hellbrand will come up there talking about he said either let my people go or all your people gonna die. Adar said, huh? He stood up, he said, we captured your people, we killed their friends, we killed the people that came across the water to help them. We've caught a lot of bodies. Like, how are your people gonna how's that gonna happen?
Well, he tells him, he says, we've won all the wars already. There's no one else for us to fear. I mean, it's like we beat the men, like you said, across the water, that came across the water. We beat the elves. We beat the men that came here. We beat the people that they sent from across the sea. Like, there's nobody else to fear. Like, you gonna what? And like you said, his calm approach to having this conversation with him, it's just like, it's so monotone, and like you couldn't get him excited if you wanted to. It's just you can't gaslight this guy. He didn't even laugh. He was just like, man, we beat everybody. Like, who else is there to fight? So I mean, I guess Adar's arrogance was like, that's what's showing right there. Like, because him thinking, or him seeing Sauron die in front of him in the other form that he was in, like what was there left for him to fear, right? Because Morgoth was gone, Sauron's gone. It's me now. I'm
conquering everything. I'm cutting down trees. I got elves working for me, men working for me. Like the mountain blew up, right? I can walk outside. I don't have to be undercover anymore. We outside. Let's do it.
And that also gives us another time reference, if you will, because he done fought the wars, done beat the elves, people that came from overseas. All of this is marches that you can't just hop in an Uber and like, all right, we're going over here to fight the Mordor. Like, all of these people had to march. From the elves had to march. Like, so from when Sauron was killed, it was snow. And you said when they got there, he was walking, there wasn't no more snow out there. The snow done melted. And then I fought all of these wars. So that, like you said, and then there's new people around. One of the dudes got a baby. You know what I mean? Yeah. That, like, his wife or whatever is holding the kid. So much time has passed for him to now take this trip back down south. You know what I mean? And that gives us a little small time reference of maybe 20 years, 30 years.
At least, I was at least 1 or 2 generations, in my opinion. What I absolutely love about the baby scene is it shows a dynamic that you haven't seen before when it comes to orcs. Like we have never ever, not one time ever, seen an orc care about another orc like that. Like in the infant, like that. We've never seen that before.
Right.
Like they've always backbitten each other. They've always hated one another, fought with one another. We've never seen the tenderness that was amazing. That showed in this universe that it's a different dynamic. So that's why, when we go back to scene 1, which we've spent a lot of time on, I know, but when we go back to scene 1 and Anatar, who is Sauron in his fair form, is talking to them, and he says more orcs are gonna die. They're already traumatized about the loss that they had. They're already messed up about their creator being gone. Like, they're actually in a horrible mental space at that point, because now we see that they actually have not just pain receptors but emotions too that are other than anger and contempt. Man, that
And they definitely double praising Adar now because they done came from the wars. Morgoth's gone, Sauron's gone. They done lost from the big war. They done lost so much, losing the 2 big guys, right? And then now where they at now? Like he talk about all the wars he done won, so he bringing them up now. Like they going up now. They stock is going way up now.
And
you know
treating them like family the whole time too. Treating them like, loving on them and treating them like family. Is that? I mean, he didn't get the orc that asked him, like, hey, Adar, you said that Sauron was dead. Let's let him just stay dead. What he said was something that you would hear from a loving father. He said some things are for a father to understand, and some things are for a son to trust. So just trust me. He didn't hit him and say, mind your, like, you know what I'm saying? It just was
Right.
like, that's how he's
Right.
doing them like that. And come on, man. They would follow Adar into wherever Adar wanted to go. Like it's, man. So you're right. Their stock is going way up. He's treating them well. And going back to the scene at hand, he talked about all the wars that he won. And then what did Hellbrand hit him with? What did he say? He said, ain't nobody left to fight.
Yeah, he said there's no he actually says there's no one left to fear, and and then Hellbrand says there is someone, still the fear, and he says he begins to tell him that as he defeated Gladriella, there's a new ally. She has sought out a new ally, an ancient sorcerer to instruct the elves forging a new weapon. So he's putting this thought into Adar's head that Gladriella has sought out a new sorcerer. So she sought out Saruman. But didn't they paths just cross, or was it he sought her out from him moving the pieces on the board? Because it was just a water meet. So she sought out him is what he's telling her? Telling him to plant the seed, or this is how he's doing the thing that you said he manipulates people when he can't, like when he first tried to do it softly, he couldn't do it softly, so he brute forces it on you. Like, is this part of the phase 1 of doing it softly?
Yes, this is phase 1. Also, he doesn't have I don't think he has a way to brute force. This guy's in chains.
True.
He's in chains right now, so he has to do it this way. So I think I can kind of see a little bit, because we're on episode 4, you and I, right? We're talking about episode 1, but we're on episode 4. So what I think is going on is he's planting the seed that Sauron is back without giving Adar too much information, right? Because he wants his people freed. Because with the Sutherlands freed, are he'll have men that he can manipulate and do what he wants them to do. And he's manipulating the main guy of Adar to do what he wants him to do as well. After the fact of him going through, so it's two birds, one stone. The men will see me as king, right, and do what I want them to do. I just freed you. Your king was in chains with you, and I just freed you. And then I'm planting the seed that you need to be looking at the elves, because Sauron is back. Which last you saw, he was Anatar, which was an elf, right? Sauron is back, and you need to, this great army that you've built needs to go fight the elves. That's what you need to do. While I have the men on my side that you just freed. You need to go fight the elves.
Bada bing.
That man is moving. You talk about cooking. Good.
Yeah.
And all they had to do was leave, man. The game is over. You put more time on the clock.
But that's the thing, like you said, that they want more time on the clock. Like
he does. He wants more time on the clock so he can, because he was losing.
Well, true. And like you said, he's got to keep Celebrimbor.
Yeah.
I mean, other than that, like
the game is over if they just left. Yeah. Game's over.
So as he tells her about how Galadriel has sought out this new sorcerer, this ancient power, he tells him that this power will be over flesh, and asks Adar if he remembers those words. Now, Thou, if you heard somebody say something to you, let's just say 30, 40 years ago, like 30, 40 years ago, and you seen the only person that's ever said that to you died, and then you hear these exact same words put in that way, how would you feel? Like, would your stomach just drop, your heart just drop? Like what? Like how? What would be the first thought going through your head immediately?
So if it was a bad omen of words, like if I like in the context of what we're talking about, man, it lets you know that Adar is a thinker more than he is just like a violent, because he's like, man, because I personally, I want the fear to go away, right? So I might crush him like a spider, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh man, get him out of here, like destroy
Absolutely,
him.
right?
You know what I mean?
Right.
But if you're a thinker, right?
Okay.
If you're a thinker, which Adar is, he's like, he knows something I don't know.
Okay.
Right? And I need this information,
right,
to counter whatever he has going on.
Okay.
Because this isn't Sauron. This is the king of the Southlands, and he is royalty. And the men and the elves, we just fought all of them. So of course all of them are conspiring against me.
Right.
Because I've beaten all of them.
They've all been in the same room conspiring against me.
Exactly. Because I'm so important. So he's flipping on the elves because I conquered his people. And he wants his people free.
And he probably thinks he was in the same room when that conversation, because he's
exactly
king. Absolutely.
Absolutely. So
hence why he took the necklace.
Yep. So this
to give him his story and his background.
Exactly. So it's so much. It's so much maneuvering going on when it's sometimes the easiest thing is right in front of you. Like I was told a long time ago, if you hear something neigh over a fence, you should assume it's a horse and not a zebra. Like it's sometimes the most obvious thing is the thing, right? So if you know that the person has the capacity to come back, possibly, and you hear the exact same words that person said, sometimes you want to kill the messenger,
Mm-hmm.
if you can, but you can't. But if you can, if you can, right, buy yourself some time. But yeah,
So Hellbrat continues to tell him that once they receive this power will be over his children, and he will use this as slaves to enslave his army once more. That Sauron will take your army again, like he set out to do before.
Yep.
So, again, giving him like, this is what Sauron's plan was before anyway. So it's just giving him 2 ticks now up on the ladder of telling them they're going to have the power over flesh, and they're going to take his army, or they're going to use this power over his army. Then Hellbrat asks him to set his people free, and he will tell him everything he knows, and he can destroy and muster up his armies to destroy this evil power. Adar looks up to him and tells him, "No, I will not free you." He says, "You will tell me everything you know about this sorcerer, or you will die, because I will spill the words from you, from your throat." Hellbrat says, "If I die, everything that I know of him will die." And then looks at him and says, "You can't kill me." Adar looks at him and says, "In time, you will beg me to."
That was a bar. That was a line.
Well, that was a nice little back and forth that they had about you can't kill me and I'm gonna kill you, and you can't kill me because if you do, well, okay, we'll see about that. It's like a,
Call it a repertoire, I think. Like, I don't know. Just back and forth. That was beautiful though. That back and forth was really, really good. Really good.
As they take Hellbrand and throw him into the cells, he is being beaten by, we need to find out who this commander's name is. The commander beats him and throws him into the cell and reassures him that Adar will have you dead. Now, as Adar and his general is having that conversation about, because his general asks him, the orc general asks him, "I thought you said Sauron is there. Are we sure Sauron is dead?" And that's that thing, like you said, he gives him the comment of, what was it again?
He some things a father is for the weight of the father to know, and some things are for the weight of a son to trust. So trust me, son.
And you see how he just ate that and then went to his family. Like, that was just amazing. Like you said, like the orcs has come a long way from just killing to now they're having families and stuff. It's just the evolution or the progress that they've taken from that to where they are now. Is like a lot of time. I think it's fast, especially for them to be like that and then trust Adar as much as they do. Like,
they love him, trust him, and love him, and yeah, it's.
So now we catching up with the stranger walking through the desert alone. As he continues to walk, he notices a pattern of stars in the sky that he's walking towards. These are the pattern of the sky, the pattern of stars that he's been chasing, that's been on a piece of paper showing him his direction in which he needs to go. As he continues to walk, he sees a staff floating in the air. He continues to walk towards the staff, holding his hand out towards it. When he reaches and touches the staff, it disappears. But he sees a vision. The Eye of Sauron, plus other things. And then he wakes up. The stranger and the Harfoot is walking through the desert. They notice that They're walking in circles. Now, Thal, let me ask you, how long do you think they know? Like, how long had they been walking past those three trees that had been sitting there before they was like,
Hmm.
was it just so much conversation that they was having about his dream the night before and
They
her
were
trying
in
to get it
a
out of him?
so they're in an unfamiliar place. They're in an unfamiliar place, and um, I had a thought. They're in an unfamiliar place for one, and then they're talking for two, and oh, this is the thought. They were there so long they ran out of food, if you remember. So they had packed
Oh,
enough for a
yeah.
while, right? And they had been walking, and they made it there, and they were walking in circles for so long that they actually ran out of food, out of rations and stuff. So, I mean, and hopefully she was smart enough to know how to ration her food, because she's from a nomadic people. Like they travel and they eat and they, you know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
she would understand how to get the most out of her rations to last for a long time. So they probably were out there for a little while, which is, yeah, they probably were out there for a while walking in circles.
That was just amazing how before they do it, it was like how many times did y'all walk past them three trees
Them
before
tree
y'all was
trees.
like, do y'all come back to them again and say, oh, I think we've been walking in circles? Like, I think I would have noticed those three stone trees that they were talking about for the longest before I. That's just me though. I'm a
Yeah.
direction person like that. You know, me and walking, like I'm looking forward. But like how was the stars? I thought they were following the stars.
It
Oh no, that was in his dream. That was in his dream. Okay.
Because he was thinking that it was like, oh, he was thinking the land was cursed. That's how lost he was. You know
Yeah,
what I
they
mean?
did say that, didn't they?
Yeah,
They
he thought, he was like, "Man, land got to be cursed. Got to be an ill omen on this land." And he was definitely um definitely thinking bad things were going on.
They began to talk about how they were running out of food. Nori gives him a look as he is leaning on the tree. The stranger says no,
Mm.
but she wants him to use his powers to try to conjure up some food. As he tells her to step back, he touches the tree. His power begins to activate, and then the tree explodes. The stranger begins to think he still can't control his powers. Bugs begin to crawl out everywhere from the stump
Yuck.
as the tree exploded. After the tree exploded, and Nori is happy because now they have food.
She was ecstatic, man. Those bugs coming out were just.
I mean, I guess you walking around for a long enough time.
I don't know why
Roasted
she didn't
beetles is fine, bro.
just eat the olives you got on your head. You know what I mean? You got, I don't know. I guess it's.
I don't know if
Well,
those are olives or acorns, but and I don't know if she's supposed to plant those as she goes along. Like I don't know if that's part of their thing.
Oh. Wow. Okay. All right. I was about to say, well, that's like telling a church lady to eat the fruit that's on her hat. You know what I'm saying? Maybe maybe that's not a thing. Maybe it's just there for decoration. But I man, I will say this about the dream, right? I feel like the stranger is if we can go back to the dream,
Mm-hmm.
you see in the dream something horrible happening to Nori, and he doesn't want to talk about it, but something horrible happens, and I feel like the stranger's putting the mission over everything, which I can understand, but you know what I'm saying? You got to understand, Nori is putting him over everything, right? So you got to take care of your people. You just do this. Now I understand the fact that you helped your people out some, but you also did grave and horrific. Like you didn't do it, but you brought it upon them as well. Some horrific things. The leader, for instance, is
Right.
dead because
Right.
of, the three acolytes. It was just there's been some really bad things that have happened. You've done good, but you've done more bad things have happened because of you. Not that you've done, but more bad things have happened because of you than good things have happened because of you so far. So I just wanted to throw that out there. And for Nori to be putting him over everything, which she definitely does, it seems selfish for the stranger to be putting the mission over everything. To continue walk to find what you're looking for, which I know you're being drawn towards it, but still, you know, you see what could happen in your vision, and you just kind of keep going towards it. That was kind of wild to me. Nori has proved to be smart. She's proved to be resourceful.
Right.
She's proved to be stubborn, but she's really, really good people. And another thing is the stranger has grown in leaps and bounds. Like he's so expressive. He can speak so well now. Like when he's talking about when she's opening up on these complex emotions about how she misses home, and he's like, me too. And she's like, well, you don't even know your home. And he's like, well, and then he explains it, right? Which is a super complex and hard thing to do, about how you miss somewhere you don't remember being. Not that you've never been, but you don't remember being. And he does it so eloquently and well. It just shows how fast that the stranger is growing. And I almost missed that. This version of him is extremely expressive, when before he couldn't even speak for real. Like he was right. Grunts and grumbles and points, and that was all he was. But I just thought that was a really big part of that scene, was him kind of being selfish in doing his mission and not sharing with Nori the fact that this could be extremely dangerous for you. Like, of course it could, like, but just sometimes you got to say it, even though it's understood. You should still say it to give them a chance, you know.
Yeah, give somebody a choice.
Mm-hmm. Again, even though you've given it to them before,
right?
Again, like, reaffirm the choice that you're making. It's important.
As the night settles in, they sit down by a fire cooking beetles and begin to try to discuss the dreams of the stranger. The stranger tries to explain as much as he can, but still leaving out intricate parts of the dream. They begin to laugh and still have fun as Nori throws beetles at the stranger. Off in the distance, they notice the fire, an open fire. The stranger and Nori quickly put out the fire. What do you think that was about? Because the stranger says we're being followed. How long, like, is this the first night fire, or was the person that's following them being a little more careful and not being as close, or tonight they noticed they noticed the fire?
I feel like the person who got closer that was following them, and it also could have been a signal too. Like, you know, this person saw their fire, and then, like, boom, you know, that could have been a signal, because we're talking about just a vast of nothingness, right? It's just a whole lot of nothing, and then boom, I see a fire and I'm following them, I'm looking for them. Boom, I'm gonna set a fire up too. And then
maybe a friendly fire, you think, to let you know, listen, I can see y'all over there.
A signal,
let y'all see me over here too.
Yeah, like, look,
I'm good now, because other than that, I could have came over there and did something, but I'm just chilling over here on my fire. I don't know.
But it's just it could be a signal fire, because there's no fires except for two fires, right? Which is
right.
I mean,
you're right. Ain't no fires but two fires out there in the desert, like me and you. I don't know if I'd have been able to put out my fire and still been comfortable that night, knowing.
Of course not. Oh yeah. Speaking of fires, though. Speaking of fires, you remember that fire in Fallout when all those big old roaches started going towards her because she set that fire? Yeah. Oh gosh, goodness. Ugh.
I can't wait for season 2.
I can't either.
So we come back to Helbreg, the king of the Southland, as he is in his cell, about to be fed, when the food that he has been dropped on the floor. And then the commander again begins to beat him. And beat him. The stranger says, Helbrag tells the commander, Adar won't like this. The commander tells him, Adar doesn't even know you're here.
He doesn't even remember your hair.
Oh man.
I thought it was so funny when he was like, even you have to eat, king. And
Right.
he's gonna give him a big old, it looked like a lamb chop. It had gravy over top of it with peas
Like,
and
yeah.
carrots in it. Like he really was trying to bribe him, like for real. And then the king hit him with that turnaround real fast. And the commander got he got scared and dropped.
Yeah, he did give him that crazy little.
Yeah, he gave him and he started getting beaten on again. Then he kind of left him in a pool of his own, you know what I mean? Kind of, beat on him until he got tired and left out the room. Now, I'm so glad that we're here. This scene is what made me think that he did not call that abomination to the boat.
Yeah, me too.
This is why he did not sense that warg was in the room until he heard it. Right? So how can you call an abomination through water and you can't sense a warg through just air? Right? Now, of course, he can speak to the warg after the fact through black speech, but he didn't know it was even there.
Right.
So that makes me think that
he didn't call it, but at the same time, when it was there and it was face to face with him, he could deal with the problem.
Yes. But I don't think he pulled it to the.
Yeah, I think my first viewing of it, I think that's what I thought. I thought he called it to destroy the boat, to do this, to do that. But I think the monster was already coming, destroyed the boat, and then again when he came face to face with it, he scared it or took the control or whatever.
He heard it some kind of way. He heard it because you could just, its mouth is open and then he's looking intensely at it and like it shivers down its spine or something. It just it turns really hard. Like it just
So I think the same thing when that same scene did the same thing for me too. I think so too.
Yeah.
So after he reaches for the bone that was dropped on the floor with the food, and that was, what do you think that was? A turkey leg? What kind of leg you think that was? A lamb leg? What kind of?
I'm thinking it was a lamb, but I don't know. I genuinely don't know. It looked like some. It wasn't a lot of meat, but it was a big old bone.
It was enough that some substance to keep you alive. That's what it was for. It was just enough.
They put a little gravy on it too to make it decadent, but it wasn't a whole lot going on that bone.
And with the piece of meat that he has on the bone, he reaches it out towards the dog. Would you call that a dog?
It's a warg, so it's like a wolf
or a warg.
A warg, okay. Yeah, it's a warg. It's like a dire wolf with a little bit of hyena in it. Like it's a it's a
one of old boy's creations.
It's nasty. Yeah, it's
one
nasty.
Of Morgoth's nastiest creations.
Yeah, it's nasty.
So I said
it's not like a category, but it's pretty bad. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
As Helbrag reaches the bone of meat towards, what do you call it again?
A warg.
A warg. As Helbrag reaches the bone towards the warg, the creature almost kills itself trying to get to it, but the chain snatches it back and slams the dog to the ground. The dog gets up immediately again and bites the bone. And as it's biting on the bone, Helbrag says some black magical words and calms the beast. That was
Yep.
amazing how that thing was just going crazy, and then he just shut it down.
Shut it down. It sat down, and his face was still twitching, but it
It was a
He got
different kind though. It wasn't the
yeah,
one with the thing going up. It was
yeah,
the lips trembling a little bit.
yeah.
So yeah, it was a different.
That boy said sit. That dog got to sit. That ward got to sitting down, and that was man. And that lets you know that him and animals are animals, abominations, whatever. Yep.
Because that sea creature was an abomination too, pretty much. Okay.
Yes. Yep.
He's good with those. Okay. All right, we set our sights on Lindon. Well, Elrond is hiding under a bridge. We see the craftsman working on a bunch of new boats as Sidron helps one of the apprentices. Sidron enters the room and says, wait a minute, I skipped too fast. Sidron goes over to the apprentice and gives her a way to stroke the wood. As she does it, she says perfection. Sidron sits out at night under the moon as he's talking to the elements, or maybe the elements are talking to him. As he comes back from his long walk, he enters a room. He tells Elrond, you do not need to hide. Yo, so what do you think? Because he asks him, what have you... He asks him, what is it that you have bestowed upon me?
That is louder than the seas.
Yo, what? Like, he felt that? Like...
Perception, man.
He knew all of that was going on. He knew he was in the room.
Yep.
Did he know? He knew he was in the room. He
Knew
knew
he
he
was
had
outside.
something.
He knew he was outside too when he was sitting on the
Yeah.
enjoying the elements.
yeah.
Elrond was down there. You know, he was down there by it, and he felt him that time too. And let me just tell you a little bit about Serdan, right? So Serdan is the oldest and the wisest elf. This guy's history really speaks for itself. He was part of every significant battle elves were ever in. Anything that mattered, he was a part of it. He is the biggest. Like he's the biggest. That's why he ran to him, because when he talks, even the king would have to listen.
Well, he said he was the oldest and the wisest.
Yeah, he makes boats. He makes boats for all the elves to go to the Undying Lands, right? So okay, he's this old, right? So the Valar used to move an island, right? So whenever an elf wanted to go to the Undying Land, an island would come, right? They would get on the island, and then they would go to the Undying Land, and then whenever the Valar wanted to do it again, they would do it again. But this is like ages of time, right? It's a lot of time in between it. So he missed his first trip because the other elves lost the king of the time. They had no idea where the king was. They just lost him. And he was like, he was on his way to go, and he was like, well, not on the island yet, but he was getting ready to do his trip, right? But he was like, I gotta go find the king. So he goes and finds the king, but they had left him already. So before this time, elves weren't into building boats. So he's the reason that the Valar don't have to bring the island anymore, because he just started to build boats, and he was sending other people because he still had stuff that he had to like accomplish and do. So his main goal, what he wanted, was to go to the Undying Lands, but he is now the way that other people are able to go to the Undying Lands and he's continuing to help younger elves do the things that they need to do and be the way that they need to be to, help his race. So he's a huge deal. A lot of elves are in Valinor right now because of him, which is the Undying Land. Right. He also built a Palantir, right? A Palantir is what you see, the balls that you can see through, right? So he built a Palantir. This is the level of craftsmanship that he's in, right? He built a Palantir facing Valinor, the Undying Lands, so he can see it. When he wants to see it, it only faces that way. And he can see it when he wants to. Whenever they show the light, whenever the clouds open, like they did for Gladiella, whenever it opens, he is able to see it. Other elves are able to see it too because he built that. But he has the ability to build the Palantir. He just is he's a huge deal, and at almost every turn he makes the right choice. So Serdan he was a really good person for Elrond to run to. Really good person. Really good.
The wisest.
Yes.
One of the wisest, the eldest and the wisest. As we see the High King seal a letter and hand it to one of the guardsmen, he tells him that it must be delivered to Celebrimbor with haste. And he must know that, or he must be informed that Helbrag is Sauron. So they know they're trying to get the word to Celebrimbor about the news of who his true form is now. Sealed letter handed to the guardsman. You know, when you see stuff like that, man, that are sealed letters and stuff like that, it's always something that's going to go wrong, right? The seal never get to where they're supposed to go to, right?
Never.
It's like when I seen that immediately, I was like, Celebrimbor is never getting that message. We all know that, right?
Never gonna see it.
So as the letter leaves the room, Gladriella tells the High King, thank you for trusting her. And he tells her, you're the only reason we're in this. The reason of you lying is why we are, and we have to perform our actions for using the rings today. We have no alternatives left.
That's not fair. I'm not a fan of Gladriella's character. I've been on record of saying that she has made such poor decisions. It's almost like she's working for Sauron. Like she's, what I said was she's so dumb. It's almost like she's evil. But that wasn't fair to say to her, because you do have the option of not putting the rings on and leaving like you're supposed to. Like that's the option. That's the best option. That's not only is it the best option, Elrond is trying to force your hand into doing that. So for you to say that the only hope that we have is this, that's not fair. That wasn't fair, and it wasn't accurate for the king to say that to her. In my opinion, that wasn't right.
Well, kind of is, and I say this. Now, don't get me wrong, because I love Gladriella. She's one of my favorite naive characters in the story. You know, she's just stupid. But I like when she herself started checking the records for who this guy is, and she thought and she knew she should have informed somebody then. But nope, she kept it a secret. Why? Because she wanted the rings to be finished. She could have easily put Elrond on it. Nope. She dropped the paper in the courtyard in season 1, and guess what happened? Elrond fell in and stumbled across him. After she dropped him in disgust to finding out when she found out who he was. Or didn't find out who he was, but knew he wasn't that person. She knew it was somebody else. And why was he pretending to be somebody else? She didn't tell nobody that, when she could have. Cause, why? Revenge and that ring. So it is her fault. She could have put multiple people on top of that. And Helbrug, not to say that Sauron or Helbrug could have been stopped then, but maybe somebody could have talked to Celebrimbor and got him to say, man, maybe we shouldn't be making these rings because we don't know who this guy is, because he's not who he says he is.
Yeah.
I can see where you're coming from. It's just putting the blame on somebody all the time. You. But you know, the High King, he should have had some kind of inkling too, though. Like, where was you at the whole entire time? What were you doing?
Who is he saying that to?
No, I'm just saying that. He's putting all the blame on her. Like, where's his fault?
What was the High King? Yeah,
when Elrond was trying to. But I'm just saying, when Elrond was trying to like get y'all and the elves together I mean, the dwarves together so y'all can get this material or mineral, but none of y'all wanted to do that.
That's true.
None of y'all wanted to work together
yeah,
then.
That's true. That's true. That's true. The only person who's not at fault here, not to blame here, is Elrond. Literally, the only one who's clean is him. He's the only one. Everybody else.
And whenever it goes down, whatever goes down, his hands is going to be clean from any of that. Because he tried to get everybody. Listen, I jumped off a waterfall. Like, how many of you who doing that? For the kingdom.
For the kingdom. Well, Snoop, it seems to be getting late, and I see a place that we can rest for this evening. We'll have to pick this story up again on the next journey.
All right, Thou. Seems like a good place to me. I'll start the fire and get something going on the fire so we can have a nice little meal.